Okay, I've not done anything yet with Watson Natural Language Understanding and Datacap, and I was going to try to record my first interaction with it. I was successful in creating a natural language understanding service on Bluemix. This is pretty easy. I can go and find services, catalog, and go and just find natural language. There's conversation. I want natural language classifier, natural language understanding. I can click on light here and then simply create a service. And I'm not going to create another one because I've got a couple already, but that's how simple it is to create one. You've got to have a Bluemix account to do it. From there, I'm going to go over to my dashboard. I'm going to look at the application here and get my credentials. So those will be here. The credentials will be here. I'm going to need those for the application. So we'll come back to this. But this is the Bluemix part of it. So let's just start creating an application. This is I was looking at another one. As usual, I'm going to start with FastDoc admin, create a new application. I'm going to call it cancel. You got to log in at least one application. There's no create from the login page. I'm going to create a new application, create a new RS application. This may or may not work. I may have to go back and fix something. Correspondence to, say next, 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 finish, and that crashed it. So I got to check one thing. I think on this, it hasn't been fixed yet. Server manager, I need the application manager. Let's go check the form template. I thought I fixed this, but I get new images all the time, so I may not have fixed it on this one. If I look at the form template, yeah, it's using Jet, so that should be fine. Let me go back to FastDoc and see why that didn't work, or if it did. Does it have the application now? Correspondence to? Maybe I closed out of it. I don't know. Well, I would have had to quit anyways to get into the application, but there it is. And I'm going to add a new file type. Alright, so I'm going to go and delete this file then. Seems like it's having trouble. Delete this application and try to recreate it again. There's that, and I can delete the directory correspondence to, and just restart Taskmaster just in case. It should be okay. Stop, start, and try this again. FastDoc. Do the wizard. Next. NLP test. Okay, so that worked this time. Close was an error. I don't know what that error was, but given a different name seemed to have helped a little. I'll go back down to here, NLP test, open, and great. See what this is saying. Probably have to stop the recording and start over. It's annoying. It's saying, oh, it didn't rename DCO form template. Probably because it didn't update something. So let's exit out of this. Let's look for the word form template and all these. We could fix this manually. This is annoying. Probably, I'm trying to wait for this lock file to go away. It should have gone away. Is it open somewhere else? Oh, maybe form template was locked. That's probably what it was. Let's make sure there's no lock folder in form template. Oh, it's in templates, form template. Yeah, that's the culprit right there. That lock file is causing the trouble. So that's weird. I don't know where that came from. Someone must have opened it and crashed the machine or restarted the machine while Datacap Studio had it open. So let's go back and redo our application again. This time I think it'll copy it over properly. There's that. Save, close it, go through here and find NLP test, delete it, and retry this again. So next, NLP test 2. Let's give a different name just in case it causes some strange issue, which it shouldn't. But so there, it looks like that worked. Now we'll try to open it. Okay, it opened with no errors that time. Let's see if we click on this. Does it show me the doc hierarchy? Okay, so it's better. So if that form template has a lock in it, it's going to cause all kinds of trouble. I've seen that before, and it's not very friendly. So, and that lock file is created when you run the application manager. So it may have been when I was fixing the form template, or, well, anyway, I'm going to create an NLP doc and page. I'm going to create it here. Just say add document NLP doc, enable rules from document, and say add. And this is just things I'm just going to run pure NLP on it. Just run it and call it a day. And whatever it is, NLP, so everything's going to be these types of documents. NLP main, enable the page, and say add, and I'm going to say add a page, NLP trailing. Enable page. Do I need any fields off this? I'm not going to put any fields on it because I just want to see if I can get it to process through NLP and get the data. Well, let's just put a name on it. So let's just say there's some kind of name on here. We're going to get it off. I'll put the first name on the document. I'll put on this. So I'll just put name. Just so we have one field to test. I'm going to say save. I'm going to come over here and settings. I'm going to make sure there's one main page, maximum of 1. Order is 1. Trailing pages, I don't have any kind of minimum, no maximum, but the order is going to be 2. So I'm going to save that. My rule sets are to recognize. I want to make sure I do recognize pages and fields. I'm going to read the page, tell it to, we're not doing any zones, but I'm going to read the machine print on the page. That'll do the OCR. We may have to do another OCR because we have to get it to do, we have to use a different recognize because we have to do it, get it to do the layout, and we'll see which OCR engine it's using for that. So that's done. Our document's created there. When you go in Alchemy, we had to set another file. We had to put the keys in and things like that. So let's go and do that next. Okay, so I'm looking at correspondence and it looks like we have these 2 keys. We didn't put them in the files. We have an Alchemy API URL and a Alchemy API key. We're probably going to need something like that for this NLP application, but I haven't seen it yet. So let's get out of this and back to Datacap Studio where we can build our rule for doing the recognition. We could also do our page ID. We could probably do our page ID stuff as well. I'm just going to do this as a source. Identify pages, whatever the source is. Here it is. I can turn off fingerprinting because we're not going to use it. I'm just going to do source location. The main page is NLP main, and anything trailing will be NLP trailing. So everything will have a page type of NLP main. If I have a bunch of single pages that all just come in as scanned, everything's going to be NLP main. It'll do single pages. If I bring them in via PDF, these will be associated together as main and trailing. So that's fine. I'm going to exit out of that. I saved it, exit out of that, bring it up in Datacap Studio. Next thing, we want to go to Document Analytics. This is where our action is, and I literally have not used it before, and it's extract text NLP. So this is the call to it. Now, does it say in the Datacap application manager, save the URL in your application's general section in a variable called NLP API URL. The default URL is that. Save the username in your application's gen section in a variable called, okay, so this is another application manager setting called NLP API username and NLP. So I got a password. Alright, so it says it's going to be on the service credentials page here. So we can probably go do that first. Well, let's go do that first. So in Bluemix, I'm going to get this. I'll have to redact it out because I don't want to give away my keys. But I'm going to view the credentials here. Scroll down. There is my URL and my username and my password. So I'm going to take that URL. Going to go back to here. Remember, we're looking at that. And this application is called NLP Test 2, and they said in the general section add a variable called NLP API URL, and what's the value? There is the URL we just copy and pasted. I'll save that. The next thing is save the username in your application's gen section in a variable called NLP API username. I got to go get that username, which we saw was, it's a big giant set of characters here. Control C and put that in there. NLP API username lowercase n. There's the value. And the next thing is the actual key. This goes into the ADV, the advanced section. I don't know why they should have spelled that advanced, but this is the advanced section. This section will actually encrypt the value in storage. I think they all encrypt them now. I'm not sure, but this one was the one that was always used for encryption for a long time. Like if you want to force encryption that people can't see the value. And then it uses these Datacap keys that sit in the DCO folder and in the DCO folder, and they're used by Datacap to decrypt that. So if you set up a bunch of servers, you're going to move that key around. So anyway, I got to go get that other value, the last value, the password. Come back here, say add new. The value name is going to be NLP API PASSWORD, and sometimes this one does not paste. It does not have a paste, or it doesn't work. So you always have to type this one by hand, which is sort of annoying. Really annoying. I'll open up Notepad. I'll create a new window. I'll drop this in here, and I'm going to look at it there and type it into. So I've got it in my Notepad here. I'm covering it up, but I'm going to put it in to here. I have to type it in. Okay, save those changes, close this, and now my data is set up in the application manager. Now, one thing about Datacap Studio is it loads that application manager data at the beginning when it opens the file. So I've had this problem where it's like, why isn't it finding this stuff? So you just have to know that now I'm going to have to reload this app. I'm going to have to reopen this application in order to have reload all those keys and stuff. So I'll just do it now so I don't forget. It automatically defaults to the last application. I'll log in. Now it's reloaded those strings so you can't really see them. But the next step is to look at, again, this document analytics, analyze layout. So we're going to have to do the analyze layout. We're going to have to do this the same way that we did the Alchemy stuff, which has been a while since I've done that. So I'm going to muddle through that as well. But I'm going to first create a recognize, because I think this recognition we probably aren't going to be able to use, because it says there's recognize NLP page, and here's OCRS. Do you see how it says recognize page OCRS? This one will not work with natural language processing because it's got to do the layout, which is going to be this one right here. So actually all of this recognition we can probably just turn off. I'm going to turn it off and choose settings here. Remember, for the doc type, and I'm clicking on the pages here in the DCO. I turn this on, I'm going to turn this off, so it's not doing any of the recognition anywhere from there. So I'm going to have to do another recognition. Recognize for NLP, and I'll do a rule for that. For NLP, and the function is F for NLP. There's those. I'm going to move this recognize rule into there. Now I've got to have this attached to certain doc types. Move this over. At the start of pages, now this is where, remember I had the inheritance, I said of type. I can say like type of page, and remember when I created those, these were, I associated them with page type, so they'll run that rule, but I just want to be sure, so I'm going to say, I'm going to force it to be sure, and it's also going to run it on NLP main and NLP trailing. So it's going to run a full page recognition on those, on the main page and the trailing page. I'll save that. I've got to attach this to my task profile somewhere. It's going to be in Profiler. Remember, we're not even using that recognize pages and fields, so I can pretty much just remove it. I can click the X here, and I'm going to use this recognize instead. I'm going to add that, move it to the top, and then save. Now the next thing, I'm going to publish that. I have to add another rule set to analyze layout, and this one I'm going to call analyze layout, R layout, F analyze layout. The rule I'm going to use in here is from that document analytics section, and I'm going to call analyze layout. So you can do a help on this and read about it, but what it's going to do, it's going to group all the text into blocks, so if we have multiple columns, they're not going to be mixed together. So you have to call this ahead of time. It's going to create this layout file, and that's all it does. I'm going to call this on those two pages as well, of type NLP main, and since I'm calling it directly, I'm not going to do the like type. So that's good. Save that, publish that, and attach that to my task profile right after the recognize, because it's going to take that OCR results and recognize it as the layout. So it's going to turn it into layout. Find the columns and find the blocks, really blocks of area of text where the area of text is. I have to have one more rule for actually doing the NLP processing to call out to Watson Natural Language. NLP I'll call it, and this one I'm going to call RNLP, and this one I'm going to call FNLP. So there it is. I'm going to get my action from this, and it's going to be called, remember in the other system we called extract text Alchemy. This one's extract text NLP. This one has some parameters. It says if you don't give any, it's going to get entities, keywords, categories. I'm going to put them in. I just saw something strange this morning. I was helping someone, and that's one reason why I'm doing this, but I wanted to run through this. But I'm going to put entities, keywords, concepts, relations. Now what's that second parameter? Model. ID of a deployed Watson Knowledge Studio custom model to override the default model. Oh, so there's a whole bunch of stuff on Watson. There's a pretty good URL here. Let me find it. So this page right here, I'll put this on the screen higher, developer.ibm.com/tv/Watson Natural Language Understanding. This is a really good video, so it'll go through and show you how to create a custom model. That might be something that we have to do to get more data out, but in this case I'm going to use the default model. But you can actually configure the Watson Natural Language Understanding to give you specific types of data on your call. And so that's what that is right there, that model. So what can I leave it to? Is it, so I'm not going to override the default model, so I'm going to leave it blank. So there that is. I have to attach it to a page, And I'm going to do it on single pages. I know there's a way to do it on multi-pages by doing something similar to what you do on invoices when they're multi-page, or line items where you call out to combine the CCOs, or you combine the data. So merge CCOs by type is what you would use. I don't know, I've been told it works, but I don't know for sure. But in line item stuff, you use this merge CCOs by type to combine all the page data into one, then you only run it on the main page. I've been told that works. I know there was a group working on it, so I'll assume that is how you do it until I hear differently. Oh, merge layout by type, that's probably what it is. Merges the layout files associated with page objects of the document hierarchy. Comma separated string to merge. Oh, there it is. So this is the call. So at the end you can run it on all of these pages and then merge the layout files at the end. So I'll do main and trailing to merge them. For now we'll just run it, but there's an extra action there in the auto doc to do that. So how interesting. Next step, extract it. I gotta assign it to it. Did I assign it to the page types? Here it is. I didn't finish that. Of type NLP main, of type NLP trailing, and save publish rule set, and I have to attach it to the task profile. So here's the third thing we're going to do. NLP. Okay, now the next step is I don't want to do my routing because I'm going to do this in Datacap Studio as I do it all the time. So you see me do this in every video. Probably I do this. I'm going to turn off this split batch so it doesn't split the batch. Otherwise, when I run it through this test tab, it won't work well. I have to get a file. So the next step is to get a file. I'm just going to go to correspondence here. Go and find correspondence. It's in the Datacap directory, and just get one of those letters that we use in a lot of our demos. Here's the images. Copy that image, go back over to my NLP app. So since this is multi-format, it's a PDF, I'm going to put it right there. Go back to Datacap Studio, and let's try this out. It should work. Multi-format, say new, multi-format, run. I like doing single TIFFs for tests, they don't take as long. Okay, it's done. I'm going to advance. We've got an image here. You can see it. It's been converted to TIFF. I'm going to go through page ID. It should identify it as a NLP main, which it did. I'm going to go through profiler now, which should make the call out to NLP. I'm going to keep running. Let's go look and see what that layout file looked like. This is batch 25000. So it did not create the layout file. So let's make sure what happened here. Let's go and see what happened. Okay, recognition. So it still ran recog. Oh, it still read recog page. Did you see that? So probably what happened was test profiles was saved. Oh, I didn't remove this one. I didn't have the proper recognize in there, so we never put that in. Okay, so there, put that one in there. I thought we removed that one. Interesting. Okay, there it is. Save, unlock, go back to the test tab. I can now just do profiler again, and it'll run that same batch. Are you sure you want to do this? Keep running. Go and look at the batch folder. Now there's a layout file for T2. There's only one file. Let's edit that. Yes. And here's all the, so that's cool. Here's all the batch data, or here is all the block data. This is where all the text is on the page. That's when we did the analyze layout. I put all that in blocks, and this looks like where you see a break in this, you start seeing the NLP data. So we've got a semantic role. This is the subject is NLP, or it's this NLP present semantic roles. Oh, so this is doing all the English stuff. We could probably leave that out because I don't need verbs, and man, it's going to be a lot of data. Verbs and tense and all that kind of stuff. So I might leave that out. But let's just see what we got. If we got names, relations, agent of, I is the agent, the relationship to, emotions, sadness, joy, fear, anger. It's at 7%. I would expect that to be higher based on knowing, I think, what's in that letter. We've got keywords. Maybe that's per field. Interesting. It's doing emotion per keyword. Fred Francis, a name. So let's keep going. Entities, a person, Tom Cruise. So that's good. So we've got that. Let's look for the word person. Maybe we just need to fill in. The next step is to fill in one of the pieces of data with some of this information. But Tom Cruise is there. We've got an actor, a word nominee. So Tom Cruise is a person. So it's saying that there's an actor in here. It's part of the regular demos that we do, is it finds the actors in here. Sadness, NLP, organizations. See if there's an overall. I'm trying to get to the bottom, see if there's an overall score for anger, joy, sadness. So it's per. I'd have to do some more looking at it. Since this is the first time I've ever seen data back from it, I'm going to have to do some analysis on it. But for now, let's find the first person, and let's just see if that's. We'll put that. Remember, we had that name field. Let's see if we can get that out. Person. Robert Hansen. So I'm going to try to get that piece of text out. I might have to look at another application to do it, but that's part of how it sometimes you have to look at something else to understand how to get that out. So the next step is we got that data. I have my NLP document. It's got the field called name, and I'm going to go try to extract the NLP field. Extract NLP field. So I'll probably have to do more. R extract name, and then F extract name. Now this one's tricky. It takes I've always had to tweak it a little to come back and try over and over to get the right thing and look at samples. But there is in document analytics. Find extracted text. This gives some samples, and these are just really trying to find things in the XML. So if I'm, the target is a smart parameter, target object save the value to, so that'll be at F since we're going to attach this to the field. Let's just start working on this. So target is at F, uppercase F, hopefully I did that. Scope, smart parameter, first, last, all, and I'm going to say first, because we want to just get the first name off of here. We can get all the names off in a list and then go search through them. Entity, smart parameter referring to the name of the entity match. For example, address.address for a result from extract text action. Person for a result from extract text alchemy. So they didn't update this after alchemy, but it's person because it's an entity, right? I'm looking for person. Look at that text again. Remember, is there a person? We looked for person. Yeah, person. That's the type. And then we're going to say that's the entity. Then the source is going to be smart parameter entity name field name. Entity name is specific subfields on text, and this is text. I'm pretty sure TEXT, because if you look in here, it's typed text. So I think the rest of it is unnecessary. Search field is optional. Search regex is optional. Just giving you some more capabilities of getting that out. So this is very similar to you can do it on a page, or in this case I'm doing it on a field. I'll make sure this runs at any level, so that's good. You see that here? Alright, but I'll attach this. Don't want to attach to the page or the field. They do it on page. Alright, I'm going to go with the flow and at p dot or backslash. Remember, a dot is for a variable name, a backslash is for a field. We call this name, so that's where I'm going to put the value. And I'm going to attach this to pages of type NLP main. Okay, so save that, publish it, and attach it to our task profile in the profiler step. Just before validate. Oh, interesting. NLP ran after validate, but it should run after. So we're going to go recognize, get OCR the text, get the layout, do the NLP, extract the fields, then do validation, routing, and profiler. Okay, we can just simply rerun this profiler and see what we get. Name did not output, so let's go back here. It's going to say that this TM001 layout updated, and I'm going to say, what was that function name? F. I always do by extract name. See what I got here. So there's extract name. First person text didn't work. So my default is to go find another application that I know does work and see if we can get the data out of that. So this is a demonstration that we've used a lot. It uses Alchemy, but it's using the same action. I'm going to go see how they got some of the names out of that data because it looks very similar. Populate fields using rules, it's probably in here. Sender name, so this is one. It's find extracted test, so they did put it on a field. First, entity text person list. So this is a person list where they're getting all the entities of type person. Okay. So I think I need to go first entity text type person. I'm going to try that. See how that is? Seems more reasonable. They should give you better examples in the help. First entity. Yeah, so it's an entity. Helps if I lock it. Text type person. Okay, try that. I don't have much confidence that it's going to help, but maybe it will. Yeah, it's not giving us much visibility into it. Let's look at that text again. Entity, maybe it needs to be entity relation. Okay, so this is private. I went further down in the file and there's maybe it says entity. Oh, it is entity type person text. Probably doesn't give us a whole lot of information in the log. One thing I don't like is that mine says first in lowercase. Try that again. And the other thing is that I'm doing it at the page level, which shouldn't matter, but this one did it at the field level, most definitely. I'm going to go back to my first one, which was entities. Maybe it's entities. Let's do that again. Type was person and text, so let's do that. We've got first entities, source is, let's go in, first entity text type first entity text type person. Alright, entity, text type person. I think the only thing I changed there was the uppercase. Okay, I'm going to change it around, so let's go. Okay, I'm going to look at one of the correspondence batches, correspondence batch that has a layout, and see what those have for person, see if they're similar. Put these side by side. Okay, here is this, it's pretty much the same document, so how does this come out? So it's using this name, I'm pretty sure, this entity name right there. And in our case, that's called entity name entities. So it is called entity. No, they called it entities here too. But they have a sub area here called entity. So I do think I need to use entities of type text person. So this is just hard wrapping your brain around this sometimes. For me it is. First, entities. Oops, gotta lock it. Source. Source is, that's where it's going. Entity. The name of the entity to match, address, blah blah blah, extract text action, person, source, smart parameter entity, name. So source is text, and the search field, smart parameter name of the entity field to match. For example, city if specified, matching with limited to specified field. If the entity parameter is set to field, let's use optional smart parameter regular expression to search for use in keyword person. Okay, so this is what it is. So I'm looking for anything called entities, which is this right here. It has to have a source text, that's the text I'm looking for, and the type, the search field is type, which is this one right here, and has to have person in it. So let's try it. I don't think we've tried it with entities yet, but this looks like it should work. We're going to try to put it on the field next. I don't think that should make any difference though. Oh, there it got it. Robert Hansen. Okay, so after all that, we struggled through it. We finally looked at it and said, and I kind of did a little more detail on it. It was entities it was looking for, not entity, is where it became out. That when we have this layout file and we're using this action, find extracted text, the scope is I'm going to get the first one, but I'm looking for anything with the name entities right here. I'm going to grab all of those. I want my source, what I'm going to use for that extracting the data is the text, and I'm going to do a search on the type field of person. So I only want all the people. So, and you can do all, and this will go through all of the entities and extract all of the people that have all the entities that have type person. Okay. I could probably put relevance in there for instead of text, put relevance, and I'd get this number back. So that's just a way to search through the XML, and now we have a working application that calls Watson Natural Language Understanding. So hope it wasn't too much of a struggle, but that's the first time I've ever been through it, and maybe that'll help just to see you so you can watch the kind of thought process that goes into it. Thanks for listening.